Welcome back. We are going to be starting over in Rimworld, and we're going to be trying a few new things. So I wanted to just show the basic setup of the game and what I like about it. I've clocked over like 1,500 hours on this game, and it's one of my favorites of all time. So there are a few different scenarios that you can choose. I'm just going to kind of show the basic crash landed one, which is basically where you've got three colonists that are wakened up in their crypto sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens ripping through metal, and they barely escape, and you crash land on this new planet. That's the basic idea of the game. And then the idea is that you have to get out, get your colonists back out into space. So there are a few different storytellers that you can choose from. Also, there's classic Cassandra, then there's Phoebe Chillax, and she kind of creates events that are a little bit more higher intensity, but spread out over time. And then there's Randy Random. Randy Random has he's chaos. He's chaos, girl. So we're just going to go with classic Cassandra, and we're going to go with an adventure story. You do have to pick whether or not you're going to reload anytime or do commitment. I'm going to do reload anytime since I am streaming this, but I feel like I usually play commitment mode. That means that if a colonist dies, that's it. You're not going back in time to save that person's life in the second time. It can be a little stressful though. I do like their comment. There's a reason Luke Skywalker did quit and reload when his family got killed. Loss and recovery is dramatic, which I agree. Okay, this is basically the world that you're going to create in, and you'll see later why. I guess I should probably keep it. They're annoying to deal with, but they're part of the game. And I feel like I've got some better strategies now to how to deal with them. So we'll keep them in. We'll keep it at alpaca seed. And these are the list of all the mods that I'm using, by the way. Rimworld is a super mod heavy game. I do love using mods, but it can be a little bit overwhelming at times. What an interesting looking map this is. We've got the Alira Ocean, and we've got quite a few different water formations, which is kind of nice. I like it, actually. When you're picking a spot for a map, this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. There are a few different biome places. You could pick a spot all the way up in the ice. You can do more in the tundra. Then there's like the boreal forest. Then there's temperate forest. Then you'll see that there's desert, and then there's rainforest. There's so many different places. I tend to lean into going with a temperate forest because that just is like a nice little beginning. And I like to try to find a spot that has a couple of nice guys around. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see as I'm clicking on the different icons that are on the screen, which just represent other colonies that have already established themselves in the game. You're able to see if they're friendly or not. Another way to do that is clicking on the faction window in the bottom right-hand corner, and it'll show you really the only friendly factions that are actually just neutral is the Arium and the Pact of Canvas, who these people are, what they do, etc., etc. And then, also the Refugee Empire, which, has a whole other story about how they fled to the Rimworld, etc. I'm trying to move through this quickly, so let me know if you want more detail of any of this stuff. They're hostile, they're friendly, they're friendly, they're friendly, they're hostile, friendly. So this is kind of looking like a nice area to settle in. You'll see that it pops up with what the map rolls to look like when you select it, what the map is going to look like. And I like ones where it does this kind of thing. You'll see there's a kind of a natural spot for us to build a base. I don't like that the water is right there. Maybe there's another one that we could go to. This one seems like it's a little bit better. Yeah, I like the look of this one. We're gonna go here. It's in boreal forest, so the average temperature is 35. It's quite cold here. I wonder if there's actually another location that might be a little more suitable. Let's look. This is too flat. I want to do a mountain base. These are all still kind of cold. I wonder. These are neutral. Oh, what's that? That's a volcano? Damn, I didn't know there was you could see volcanoes in here. That's crazy. I never saw one before. That's all what a volcano looks like, guys. Pretty crazy. Let's see, is there something over here that might be a good spot? You know what? Let's stick with the boreal forest. I liked this heart of the map. Things are relatively close. I like this one. We're gonna go here, and it'll be interesting to see a boreal forest. I've never done that before, so let's see what happens. Next, we are gonna choose our religion. This is one of the structures in the game that is built in. You imagine that maybe the crash landed people a particular kind of religion. So I actually really like this fluid system where you are able to customize your religion as you go forward. There are some presets that have mild impacts on the game. I personally like high collectivists as a person who sometimes participates in some 420 action. So it's fun to see them get high and all that. But man, you could do cannibals, you could do nudists, which is really funny to me. You could do cowboys and martyrs and all sorts of intense things. Naked man eaters? That's just ridiculous. Okay. Next, I downloaded this mod that does languages for the different colonies that there are and wanted to try this out. I don't know what it is that I'm going to be speaking of, but that's the world that we're crash landing on, Atlas 282. A language for each technological level for the race and dialects functions. What happens if I click that? Oh, you can select different things. A language for each technological level, a language for each culture, for the race and dialects of all factions. No, I think just one is good. We'll just keep it that way. Like, so these guys speak the same language. These guys are going to speak the same language. We'll see what language we end up speaking. Okay, this is the really fun part where we start to get into the nitty gritty of who is going to be on our ship crash landing onto Rimworld. I am using an app as well. I think I'm actually using several apps, but there's one that's called, oh God, what is it called? EBD? Where do I find my mods that I have installed? Workshop mods. My mods. Oh, here. Well, it's prepared carefully. That's where it is. So you're able to get into such insane detail here if you really, really wanted to, but I like to choose the people a little bit more chaotically and randomly. And it seems like the game has done a pretty good job at balancing my first few characters. So here, let's look. Squint has whole body wake up addiction, which means that he's gonna need some wake up to recover. I don't really like that. He's good at melee mining and plants, so I might put you down at the bottom. Let's see, is there someone else that we could replace him with? Ooh, Sky looks pretty good too. What are we missing in our current We need someone who's really good at plants and intellectual. They're really good at construction, intellectual. They're okay at plants. They just have a aching. Let's see what happens if we take out Sachiko and take out Squint, put Sachiko in. So we've got Latch, who's missing a left thumb. Latch also was an herb world urchin, born in the darkest slums of her urban homeworld. Neglected by her mother, she learned to survive on her own, battling for every scrape of food she saw. Eventually, as her talents exceeded her peers, she ascended from the depths to the surface streets and left her mother behind. So that gives her +4 melee, +4 crafting, but she's not a good social person. She's very not social, which is really unfortunate. She then became a smuggler, and as a contract pilot, that's how she ended up getting her smart. She's not a smart person, though. She's not going to be able to do art. She can't plant for shit. I try to find people that are not incapable of anything. So right now, P seems like our best person. Squint also was incapable of nothing. Jared's looking good. Jared's not incapable of nothing. And Jared's 18. He's gonna live for a while. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Steven, who is a paramilitary agent. What happens if we put Steven in? So this is looking good. Between everybody, we have pretty much everything covered with mostly good stats. Steven seems to be our chief person in general. Steven looks cool. Steven was a disaster survivor child and a paramilitary agent. So I think we've got our 3 people that we're going to pick. Steven and, oh boy, we're going to have to get rid of slavery being honorable. Slavery is not going to be honorable in our society. That's going to be one of the first things we remove because I can't play that way. Okay. I feel like I don't like Pupi as the name for Julia. Also, why are they all wearing basically the same thing? It's kind of interesting. Okay. I think we are ready to finally start, y'all. I'm just double checking one thing really quickly. There we go. Okay. Cool. So we're in decent time. So we've gone through all of this stuff. And so in our system, yet again. All right, let's land. Let's do it. Oh, what's the xenotype? Oh, the xenotype editor is like you can choose all of these different genes and you can give people all sorts of crazy stuff here. There's pre-made gene types. So just to quick recap, we are going to be crash landing with Julia Pupi Schmidt, Jared Hidson, and Stephen Wilcox. Steven's our gunner. Jared's going to be our social smart person. It seems like P is going to be our builder, our miner, our chef. We're putting a lot on her, actually. And her daughter is Latch. It's a shame that we can't bring her with us, but it's possible Latch will end up in another tribe or colony, and that will be that. So we're going to go ahead and hit start. So the 3 of you awake in your crypto sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to escape the pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown Rimworld. As pieces of the shredded starship fall around you, you make plans to survive. here we crash. And there they are. There are our heroes. How exciting. Okay, so with that being said, we need to figure out where we're going to put our bear. So I have, again, several mods. My screen's probably going to look a little different from yours. But that being said, I think looking broadly at the map, one of the first things we want to do is figure out where our fertility is. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see all these icons. And this will switch this off and on to show us this fertility. So dark green means that it's extra fertile. Light green means that you can plant anything there. It's fine, but it's not wonderful. And yellow and obviously uncolored territory is not good to plant it. This is marsh. I think what I want to do. Oh, I love that they've already built in some of this texture for us here. I want us to build over here. I wonder if there's a way to change the marsh or build on top of it. I haven't experimented on it. You'll find these ancient things around. Sometimes they wake up, sometimes they don't. It's the year 5500. So there are scary things that could be around on the map. One of the things that I'm looking for on the map right now, too, is one of the really scary things, which is a pre-established mech base. Mech being spelled M-E-C-H. I can't seem to figure out where that would be. Usually you'll see like an outcropping of a building that's like in a mountain, but in this case, it might actually just be in the mountain. Like this is suspicious because of how sharp and clean it is, but it's not there, I don't think. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the home key, and that will unlock everything. You might have seen things were forbidden. You can hold F down to unforbid things. You'll also find that there's little keyboard shortcuts in the box there for you. I want to go ahead and start installing stuff. We're going to install these. We're just going to put them right in the middle here. Sure. And then where's our third? B to install. I suppose putting it right on top of the ancient razor wire isn't a great idea, but it is what it is. I also think that we should put a door in right here. It says that there's not enough wood, but there will be, trust me. We're going to block off this area as well with wood. And we're going to block wood. I think that should get us going. Now, the next question is, where do we want to put our food and our freezer situation? Food is one of the biggest concerns in the game, especially early game. It's still springtime, so temperatures will be rising just a little bit, which is great, but we need to be aware of that. The other thing we want to do is make sure we have a storage facility set up. So I think I'm going to put the storage facility actually over here on this side, and then probably put our kitchen and freezer down over here somewhere. So I'm going to just start building and probably talking out loud. I like to try to use as much of the natural space that they have given us to do these buildings. So I'm just this is going to be our first storage area. I have a few different mods also that allow you to add different types of... Oh my God, my brain is blinking. Different types of storage areas will allow you to place different things. So I'll put this as just a stockpile zone in general. I'll later probably switch this to just be an indoor stockpile zone. And I'm going to just already have a higher priority outdoor stack over here. that'll be for things like chunks or steel, like things that don't need to be outside because things deteriorate when they are outside. Oh, we got a moose in here. We got to watch out for that. I feel like this is going to be danger. This is dangerous. We need to be careful with that. Do we also know where the anima tree is? The anima tree is a tree that, for religious purposes, we probably don't want to disrespect. There it is. I found it. And we don't really have to worry about building in there. That's going to be an open area, so we should be good, except for maybe this steam geyser that we would use later. But that's all good. Okay. Oh, Jared's throwing up because the landing was pretty rough. Don't forget, they just crash landed, and I'm having them do all this shit right off the bat. Thanks, guys. You're the best at following instructions. And Steven's throwing up now. It's really unfortunate. All right. Steven is equipped with Jared has a knife. You can see what they're holding right there. And then Pet, she should have a knife or something. Could. But I guess I don't have an extra knife. Do I? I do know how much buildings there already are ready to go. So my plan with this is to ultimately break through this wall here and then also set up camp over here. But that's down the road. Ooh, we got some nice compacted machinery here. Excellent. So yeah, we'll probably just like block this area off and keep it here. And hopefully no one will touch it. All right, where do they go? Kapi is getting some wood. Jared is gathering some more wood. Oh, no, Jared, you should have just gun. Jared is better at melee than shooting, but Kapi is better at melee and has no shooting skills. So I think that's what should happen. Everyone should have a weapon. You never know. Oh, that might be where the danger is. Also, I don't know what would be in those. But let's see. Sometimes they'll also pull up like oh, this character is in danger because blah, blah, blah. You know, they're near the hidden force. So it'll tell you. I also like to open up all of the things that I have here. So this left-hand column will just list everything that is in your base and available. Like clay that. In fact, I'm going to claim all of these. That'll get them to start. And then what we're going to do, we're also going to just start a growing zone. So I like to build my growing zones in the same shape as power for the wind turbine. And I feel like in this situation, we're going to be going left, right scenario. So I'm going to build it like this shape. I'm just going to put that down for 1 second so that way we can do our growing zone like this. I'm going to also switch the floors. I have an app that, or a mod, sorry, that will do tilled soil as the ground so that way that gives a little boost to all of your crops that you're growing. Everything should have a little bit extra there. Okay. Since Crash Landed comes with tents now, I'm not as worried about getting bedrooms set up for everybody because everyone can sleep in their tents until we get actual bedrooms set up. Do we have an animal also? Let's see. We do. We have Dudette. The dog. Look at the dog. Dudette. A female lab. Hopefully she survives. Last time I was playing this, I had a cat that crash landed with us, and the cat got eaten immediately. We can train this dog also. Steve is the owner of the dog. We need to make sure that things like the Mega Wolverine don't attack it. And they don't have that much food. They're hungry. They want food. And hopefully it's not going to be us. That's the food. Okay. So I feel like we've set our food situation. I'm just gonna build a little wall around all of this also. And I'm gonna do it square out with the square bottom. I'm just gonna do it like that. There we go. And cancel Nara. Cancel hat. One. And we can put a wood door here on this side. And then now we just don't have to worry about that anymore. Ancient mech. Passing near the remains of an ancient extra strider mechanoid, Coupe noticed an intact transponder inside. If you could get the transponder, you could read valuable information on it. The massive mech is smashed and fused into solid piece. You must destroy it to retrieve the transponder, but be careful. The incendiary weapon cells look unstable and it will likely detonate after you do so and do some damage, which is great. I also feel like it calls other bad guys. Where did Steve go? So we're approaching the end of our first night. Since it's night now, we can also talk about different crops. So again, this game is so deep. To start, I like to start with rice. Rice, I find to be the fastest growing, grows in 3 days, versus potatoes that take 5.8 days. But potatoes and rice to start are good choices. It is very dark at night. Who's my construction person? So I like having this mod because it tells me, it reminds me who my constructors are. So Pupi, I'm going to have her work on prioritizing the hens when she wakes up in the morning. So off they go. All right, Jared's the first one up. He says, "Don't worry, Pupi. I'm sure you won't let this happen again." And it was because she had to eat without a table. We don't have any tables yet. And that's, of course, obvious because we just crash landed from another planet. but I think by installing the tents first for today will be good. It always yells about having this need for recreation. So there's a whole recreation tab here that you can just do a quick wooden horseshoe hole situation. And I guess they're entertained by that. Oh, that's nice that there's a geyser inside. I like that a lot. That'll help us later. Oh, and then Puppy can get that knife now too. Oh, uh-oh. Well, the Mega Wolf is awake and going to try to eat our dog, and we can't let that happen. We can't let it happen. No, our dog is dead. Oh my God. Of course it is. So we're gonna shoot at it. Why couldn't it have shot at it before? That's really annoying. That prevents you from shooting when there's a friendly in the view. If you just ate, why couldn't he have eaten that rat instead? Where are you guys going? Oh, there's more steel over there. Look at that. Look at that there. Must have crash landed with us. Okay. I would say that steel is not so important. Grab, but it seems like it's important enough for them to need to have ASAP. Maybe it's because we're building this wind turbine. In the meantime, I'm also gonna say we need to chop a lot more wood. And we gotta chop everything that's in here. We should not have an issue with having enough wood. We should have plenty of wood everywhere. So see, now that we've planted, or not planted, but we put in some of the tilled soil, it's now this darker green color. So that's a good trick. I like that one. And it doesn't feel like it's game breaking or anything like that. It just is like, oh yeah, this is like a natural. Of course, if you till the soil, it'll be fine. And I'm so sad. Dog died. Oh, do that. It's gonna be upsetting. Steven is gonna be really upset. Yeah, his budget in. The universe is it's an evil universe for sure. So our religion needs everyone to be wearing a flop hat. That seems to be an important thing. This religion. Let's talk about setting up our priorities here first. In the work tab, I like to set things to manual priority. I think that firefighting is really important. Being a patient and rescuing patients is really important. Being a doctor is really important early on, except if you're a bad doctor. So we can leave Steven and Pookie to do that. Bed rest, super important. Hall plus, childcare, basic. And then everything else I kind of go after that. I let it at 3. So anything that also only one person is doing, I try to spread the joy out a little bit. So Jared, he's good at waiting and selling tables and entertaining people and being a warden. He's also good at research and managing and writing and fishing, but not a hunting. He can handling is just handling animals. We'll give Steven the hunting, smithing, and the tailoring and the crafting. And that means that P is going to be good with everything else. Good with everything. So we only have one cook, which isn't great. We need to make sure that P is always going to be cooking. So with that being said, let's build our first kitchen. Okay, let's build our first kitchen and freezer. So this is very sure. Love this. I think I want to make a hallway up at the top first. And this hallway is going to be, my idea for this is that the freezer is going to be here, kitchen's going to be down here, butcher is going to be up here, with a hallway. And then that way, everyone kind of goes in and out one way. So let's build the wall or the freezer. And also, I like to build a little trap door almost for the freezer. And that lets us keep it a little colder inside here. This also needs to be just well, just a temperature. So we're going to kind of go nicely there. Then I just kind of go nicely there and there. I'm a little concerned about the number of air conditioning units I'm going to be. That's the problem. Oh my god, was this all so loud the whole time and that's why you couldn't hear anything that I was saying? Boy. Well, we'll find that out. I just reset the volume. I don't know what time we're at, but I will be resetting the volume. Okay. I wish the stats told you how long we were streaming for, but that's a whole other story. Okay. We're gonna. Oh, wow. It's already the second day. So I've been streaming for 48 minutes, allegedly. Okay. So, yeah, we know that happened. That was tragic. All right. I think we can do one more day of continuing to try to set this up, and then we're going to wrap up this video. All right. It is 2 a.m. and they're already waking up? The sun's not even out. My friends, why are you up so early? I guess they can't sleep in their tent. Which, to be fair, not 100% pleasant, I'm sure. Okay, so temperature. We're going to put a cooler here. We're going to put a wooden door here. And we're going to make sure this is remove roof area. Is this roof? Yeah, there's nothing there. There is not a roof there. So what we're doing with this is essentially saying that's going to be where the air conditioner for this freezer is going to go. And then we also want to build roof area all inside here. This is all going to be roofed off as well. Nice. We've already got our door, so we're good. Our poor dog is still dead, but, you know. Wasn't there... So I feel like there was a moose in here. Oh yeah, that's probably also gonna have to be slaughtered at some point, which is unfortunate. We're gonna have this be our kitchen, and I'll eventually get rid of this like rock area here because we're gonna have a kind of bigger kitchen, I think, once we get going. Sorry, I'm just looking around at all the different things that there's available. Because it's been a while since I've actually played this. Oh, did I put a door into the butcher? Structure, wooden door. Here, we'll just put it right here so that it's across the way from there. It's really annoying that that's where this thing is, but it is what it is. So we'll just put the dining room on the other side of it. Now, I don't know how much of a good idea it is that I'm building everything so close, but it's the best spot for where I want it to be, so I'm gonna just have it be where I want it to be. And that's gonna be that. And we'll have to deal with the consequences later. I like to build my power conduit in the walls of the building as much as possible. I find that just kind of helps it keep clean also. So we're gonna make inside here a veggie stockpile. We're going to make a meat stockpile. We're going to make a medicine stockpile. And an animal stockpile. Okay, visitors, we don't have time for you right now. I'm not going to have visitors until I can. Until I have space. Wouldn't it tell you what the temperature was inside of a room? Okay, well, that's that setting. I thought it would tell you when you hover over it on the left. That's okay. So this is the temperature overlay. So you can even see already how important having this double sealed door is for your freezer, because it really, you get a lot of temperature loss and variance from that alone. Alrighty, well, I think that this is a really great spot to wrap up the first video. I hope that you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. We crash landed, we made our characters, we got their weapons, we started building, we have the basic outline of the base. We built a kitchen, butcher, and refrigerator freezer section. Very impressive that we did that all. We surrounded this guy, hopefully never use, but we'll see what happens with that. Until next time, friends, have a great rest of your day.